Now time for the 7 things you'll be talking about today. Number 7.
President Joe Biden has spent his last few weeks in office trying to cement his legacy with more student loan forgiveness, bans on drilling, more money for Ukrainian aid, removing Cuba from a terrorism list, setting records on clemency and pardons. We'll talk about that in just a little bit. Agreeing to bad labor deals and declaring an oligarchy is taking over the country. This comes after he gives George Soros an award, right? He commuted the sentences for long-serving drug offenders, some including cop killers, yes, that's right, and declared the Equal Rights Amendment ratified, even though it most certainly is not. He is sadly aiming to solidify his legacy, which he's kind of doing. His record is that he is the worst president in modern American history, and it seems like he's going out that way. Should this be higher up the list? I don't know. Probably. He does suck awfully hard.
Number 6.
The Alabama Supreme Court has issued directives declaring that breastfeeding mothers do, in fact, qualify for jury duty exemptions. And as I said this before, and I will say this again, allow me to focus on this one more time. Jefferson County's judges could have been reasonable human beings. That's all they had to do. Be reasonable people. Allow a nursing mother an exemption and not make her do jury duty. Instead, they threatened to release the DHR on her and take her kid away. Well, the Alabama Supreme Court said that's stupid. Stop doing this. And they said there are written instructions now in place where you will excuse them when necessary. No apology, by the way. No apology still. And that apology would have gone a very long way to resolving some of this, at least an acknowledgement. But apparently Jefferson County was not going to issue said apology. No way, no how.
Number 5.
Alabamians cannot read, and the Alabama Literacy Act has failed. And you may be thinking to yourself, Dale, I listen to you read the 7 things every morning. I can tell that Alabamians can't read. But the Alabama Literacy Act has failed. It's now been reported that the Alabama school systems across the state only retained 452 third graders in the 2023-2024 school year under the Alabama Literacy Act, meaning they kept them back in the third grade. This is less than 1% of third graders statewide. And guess what? They feared that 24% could be held back. And the way they got away from that 24% being held back, they just said, screw it, let them go. It doesn't matter. They gave all these exemptions to kids that should have stayed back and let them move on to the next level. Then what the hell was the point of the whole thing if you're not going to hold people accountable here? The Alabama Literacy Act has failed.
Number 4.
I hate this next story so much with every fiber of my being, but TikTok has restored U.S. service after President-elect Trump assured service providers they would not face penalties if they kept it up. Temporarily delaying the app's ban was a plan that Donald Trump, I guess, has been working on for a couple of weeks because I do good on TikTok. I do fine on TikTok. I'm good on This is a vanity project. And you know what? We get on Joe Biden for just saying, I'm not going to enforce immigration law. This is the same exact thing. This is the same exact thing. Now, it's far less disastrous. I agree. But you can't just say, I don't like this law, so I'm not going to enforce it until you can. And so apparently you can do that right now. ByteDance still says they're looking for a non-Chinese owner. That's a lie. I guess we're just going to allow this thing that's spying on Americans and rotting our kids' brains from the inside to continue operating. That is nuts.
Number 3.
President-elect Donald Trump's incoming administration under the leadership of border czar Tom Homan. By the way, are we gonna 6 months from now be like, there's no border czar? No border czar. No border czar. What's that? No one knows what that is. But border czar Tom Homan set to launch immigration raids today. Yep, sanctuary cities, undocumented migrants. They're watching out today. Watch out! Prioritizing those with criminal records while resuming worksite enforcement. That's what's going to happen here. The initiative marks a shift from prior guidelines, which are, just let them all in. Let them all in. Now, there are concerns about family separations. I don't care. Impacts on longstanding residents with no criminal history. I don't care. Public opinion is divided. I don't believe that. The administration faces logistical challenges. That's true. Lawsuits and scrutiny over its approach to immigration enforcement. But they promised that they were going to do this, so they better do this.
Number 2.
Due to dangerously cold temperatures, President-elect Donald Trump's inauguration will be moved indoors to the Capitol Rotunda, where January 6th took place. Did you guys know that January 6th took place there? I don't know. I hope someone in the media points it out. It'd be fun to point out. What a great place to end an insurrection, right? Like, isn't this like the end of the insurrection? A complete takeover of the government? It's almost brilliantly planned if you think about it that way. Anyway, 700 VIPs, members of Congress, other attendees can watch from the Capital One Arena or designated viewing locations, also known as your hotel room, which you could have done at home. The outdoor parade is canceled. By the way, these plans are not the first time it's gone down like this. Safety concerns are an issue. Reagan's 1985 indoor inauguration was held inside because of a wind chill of less than -8 degrees. Wow, that's pretty cool.
Now, time for the number 1 thing you'll be talking about today.
Man, a story of 2 presidents who are very different but love doing similar things. I mean, good Lord. President-elect Donald Trump plans to enact over 200 executive actions on Inauguration Day, targeting border security, energy independence, DEI program elimination, bureaucratic reforms. That's right. Get your asses back to work, government employees. No more sitting at home. I'm talking to you, Cindy. Go back to work. She said no. Key measures include declaring a national border emergency, reinstating Remain in Mexico, abolishing the Green New Deal, pausing offshore wind leases, and reasserting presidential control over the federal workforce. I hope Trump comes to my house and makes Cindy go back to work. These are dubbed promises made, promises kept. The actions also aim to reduce the cost of living, suspend security clearances of officials tied to the Hunter Biden laptop claims, hell yes, and rename the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. What's he going to do on day 2? He's taking care of everything. What are we done? Is he going to resign? Is he like, mission accomplished, I'm out. Thank you very much, J.D. Vance, you're president now. But there's a huge wave of policy shifts. I don't like the executive order side of this. And then I remember what we're dealing with because as of this morning, President Joe Biden issued preemptive pardons for Dr. Anthony Fauci, retired General Mark Milley, members of the January 6th committee, and others, aiming to shield them from potential revenge by the incoming Trump administration. That means that Liz Cheney, who went out and said things like, well, what do you need a pardon if you've done nothing wrong, now has a pardon. Just remember that. And this is who they are. Everything they claimed to be against, they ended up doing. Every single thing. Trump didn't issue pardons to January 6ers on the way out the door, did he? But no, then the Biden administration came in and went after them and went after their political enemies. And now they're like, well, we did it, so they're going to do it to us. These unprecedented pardons announced in Biden's final hour as president protect individuals who have not been accused of crimes but could face a politically motivated prosecution. Holy cow. Holy cow. Can we just talk about how absurd this language even is that we're having this conversation? Biden justified the move as necessary to uphold public servants' reputations and counter threats to democracy, emphasizing that the pardons do not imply guilt or wrongdoing. And then he read on the off the teleprompter, wink, 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 end quote, wink. What a pathetic loser. What a great way for Joe Biden to go out, though, just as a complete and pathetic loser with the acknowledgement that all this lawfare was exactly what we all expected it was, and that is delightful. It is absolutely delightful. I love this. More of this. More pardons, Joe. You got a little bit more time. Pardon some more people. Pardon your terrible wife. Do that next. I don't know. Maybe she did something. Just give her a preemptive pardon. Excuse me. Now, if you'd like to weigh in here, very simple ways for you to do so. Obviously, you can pick up the phone right here, right now at 866-494-WVNN. And that, of course, is the scoutpestcontrol.com WVNN hot take text line. You can leave a comment on any of the social media apps you're streaming this on right now, or you can email me, Dale@WVNN.com. That is the Downtown Rescue Mission.org email inbox. Get your thoughts in. Plus, we got 10 with him coming up at the end of the program. It's a busy one today, Inauguration Day. Stay tuned.
Get WVNN's Dale Jackson's 7 things you should be talking about today right in your email box every morning. Go to yellowhammernews.com and sign up today.